Welcome to the Thought Leadership Podcast, where we share insights on how you can become the go-to thought leader in your niche. I'm your host, Alejandro Sanoja, founder and personal branding consultant at Latin Empresarios. And today, our guest is Jennifer Jones. Jennifer Jones is a certified integrative executive wellness coach, wellness educator, corporate wellness consultant, speaker, author, and is the owner and founder of JENuine Nutrition, a holistic nutrition and wellness company that utilizes nutrition psychology and behavioral science to help busy men and women transform their relationship with food to transform their lives. She understands the challenges busy professionals often face in stressful environments with limited time and resources to dedicate to their health. As a health and wellness industry expert with over a decade of experience and 100% client success rate, she teaches busy individuals how to eat instead of restricting what they eat so they can develop a healthier relationship with food and their body to successfully lose weight and keep it off without crazy diets or extreme exercise. Through her proven programs, her clients experience a mental and or physical transformation and are equipped with the knowledge, tools, and skill set to make the transformation last a lifetime. She is the creator of the Balanced Eating Blueprint and the author of the 90-Day Intentional and Intuitive Nutrition Guide. Jennifer has worked with major companies such as food giant Cisco, a real estate giant like Keller Williams, and has been repeatedly featured on KPRC TV, Channel 2 in Houston. Jennifer, I'm super excited about this conversation. I've been doing a lot of research, reading your website, your career, and there's a line in your bio. I think you tell your story really well. And there's a line that caught my attention. Beastmode Jen to Zen Jen. So I'd like to know what's the difference between both and how did you make that transition?
Gosh, that's a loaded question, kind of sort of, because Beast Mode Jen was all that Jen ever knew. So growing up, being a high performance athlete my whole life, basically, started out cheerleading, then softball, then basketball, and then volleyball. So I played volleyball or basketball all throughout life. Basketball is my number one sport. Summer AAU. So if anybody's familiar with AAU basketball, so I'd be playing my regular season basketball, and then AAU, we'd be traveling all over the South region because I'm from Alabama originally. So we'd be in Tennessee, Florida, just everywhere playing ball. And so, and then I went off to school to play volleyball collegiately for a couple of years. And that's literally all I've known is just being active, and I thought I was going to go to school for basketball, but I went for volleyball. And then after a while, I was just like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. My body needs a break. After playing volleyball for a couple of years, I had left Alabama to move to Miami, and that's a whole story. Lived there for a long time. And then, the athlete in me, after stopped playing volleyball, I still needed a way to compete. And so when I was in Miami, I was going to the gym still to stay active. I was back in school, finishing school rather. And I saw these women at the gym and they had these amazing sculpted bodies. And I was like, I want that. Cause I already kind of had the frame, right? And I was like, I think I could do that, athletic frame. Let's take it up a notch. Let's do some bodybuilding. And it was like a competition, not really it's a competition with myself, really, because I needed a form to compete. And bodybuilding was that avenue for me during that time. And beast mode, if you know anything about bodybuilding, it's beast mode, right? Like you're going to the gym, you're doing 2-a-days, you're working out in the morning, doing fasted cardio, drinking your gallons of water and all of this stuff. And and then I became a personal trainer. And so it was just all of these things that I've known to do my whole life. But then it just didn't make sense to me and my body needed a break. And so I stopped bodybuilding, one, because that sport is very subjective. Like it's like you're winning a trophy, but like who's judging and what are they judging based on? It's like, okay, whatever. So, I didn't feel like, wearing my body down so much to the point for just getting a trophy. I did want to be a sponsored athlete. But I saw the ins and outs and the behind the scenes of that, and that didn't fit well with my my spirit. And so I was like, that's not the route for me. But actually, fun fact, Lee Haney was my mentor. So if anybody knows about bodybuilding and Lee Haney was my mentor back in the day. Shout out Lee. And he's amazing. Like Lee Haney is amazing, great mentor. And he's still doing great. But it was just like, I knew I just didn't want to go down this route anymore. I didn't have that dedication to really dedicate myself to get to that next level, because for me, I didn't see a point in it. So long story short, I was bodybuilding during that personal training during that time. That's when I started my business, was personal training, because people saw my transformation. They're like, Jen, help me, help me. And I'm like, oh, I was like, I don't know. And it's funny because it's crazy, because what I'm doing now is what I've always envisioned for myself. Because I always knew, like 10th grade, sitting in English class, I was like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm not going to be sitting at a desk, working for someone or whatever. I just always knew in my spirit, this is what I was going to be doing. I didn't know I was going to be starting it through the personal training route, but that's how it started. And started my business, in Miami, personal training. And that's really, well, the seed was planted. I know you're asking me how to go. I'm telling you the long story to it all, because it is kind of a long story. Because to go from beast mode,
That's perfect.
Okay.
We got time.
Good to go from Beastmode Jen to Zen Jen. It's a 10-year journey, basically more than 10 years, a 12-year journey, right? And so, but the seed was planted. I got to go back a little bit to college volleyball. When my, college coach, she wouldn't allow us to have fast food or soda during the season. Mind you, when I was playing in high school, me and my friends would go to Burger King all the time, and just, Burger King after high school, everybody meet up, you're eating your Burger King, and that's what it was. But then when I got to college, she was like, we're putting a stop to that, right? And that was really when the seed was planted for me, that what you put into your body impacts your performance on the field. And so come full circle to JENuine Nutrition, because we're going to actually put a pause on that, because that statement and that kind of awareness or aha moment is what kind of led me to do JENuine Nutrition. So long story short, after bodybuilding and personal training, I said my body needed a break. And I figured out that working out was not the answer, because in that break, I took 2 years off from working out. This is me going from working out, 5, 6, 7 days a week, to literally taking 2 years off and not working out consistently, maybe 3 times a week, 1 or 2 times a week. And that's when I started to realize that, working out is not the answer. It's only 5% of the equation. In that time, I also healed myself from debilitating cycles, because I've always had debilitating cycles, menstrual cycles, and I couldn't figure out what it was, because I've always been healthy, right? So I'm healthy, I'm working out. So why am I having debilitating cycles? And then my spirit told me, like, it's something to with your diet. It's something that you're eating. And so I did an elimination diet, took that out, took chicken out. And ever since then, I don't have any issues, like night and day, literally. Yeah, through an elimination diet. And so it was all of these, it's a culmination of things that led to Zen Jen, because I realized the way that I was living and the way that society tells us to live in regards to losing weight and getting fit and being healthy is really the complete opposite of what we should be doing. And so once I took that 2 years off, I had another aha moment that, it's really about what you put into your body, and working out is only 5% of the equation, especially me going from a top performing athlete to not working out at all. When you see athletes who, they've been top performing and they gain weight when they're inactive, right? But they're not watching what they're eating. They're not watching their stress levels and all of those other kind of things. I went 2 years and I maintained my weight. I'm actually 5 to 10 pounds of my high school weight right now. So it's literally not diet and exercise. And back to the point where, the aha moment back in college, and that's, with JENuine Nutrition, I realized and that's why I rebranded and restructured my business. Let me say that, when I moved here to Houston, because I stopped personal training, because I started, teaching my clients that's more about how you're living versus working out, because working out is the easy part. Everybody can work out. So in that 2 years time, I, like we talked about earlier, went walking in nature, did my yoga, Pilates, been practicing yoga for like 6-7 years now. And that's been, long story short, like my journey from Beastmode Jen to Zen Jen, and being more in tune with who I really am and not following the crazy, whatever of diet and fitness industry and go, go, go and all of that mentality, which we can talk about later too. But yeah, that's the journey. It's a long journey and it's it's a lot in there for sure.
It is, and there's so much value there because, and if you see, for example, I'm not a big football follower, but when I saw Tom Brady at that sport at such an age,
Yep.
still winning,
Yep.
I was like, that guy's doing something that everybody should be doing. So I bought his book and I read it, and it's very interesting that he talks. Of course, everybody now is paying attention to, which I think it's great, to your emotions, your breathing, and all of those elements. But
Yep.
they also talk a lot about it's not all about speed and strength,
Nope.
right? He makes a big emphasis in, I don't remember how he calls it, but it's basically kind of like massage plus stretching plus yoga. It's
Myofascial. Yeah.
yeah.
Myofascial, all of that.
And he's so smart because he says it's about how much you're getting pushed all the time. So how much of that can I absorb? It's not
Exactly.
necessarily how strong I am. And look at him. He's like, it's amazing what he's doing. Same with LeBron James. He had an interview with Tim Ferriss, and they regulate the temperature when they're sleeping and all
Yep.
these other variables that are so important. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy we're having this conversation. And I'm gonna ask kind of like a selfish question, but I'm sure there's a lot of people out there in the same position. So
Or
I've been there as well. I was an athlete at that time. The eating burgers made sense because at that time you can eat whatever. When you're training, all that's all you do. You're playing all day, every day. You're young. Your metabolism is amazing, so you can do whatever you want. Later on, I did CrossFit and I was doing it every day. And same thing, I could eat whatever, and you're gaining strength and everything, you just burn it. So basically you don't have to be that careful with how you eat.
but actually, yes, you do. But continue with your point, but I'll tell you that. Yeah.
You do, but it doesn't seem to, right? Because we have, to your point, we have this false KPIs that if I look good and I perform and healthy, right? Like if I can run a mile in less than 8 minutes, and if I can lift this much and I can play basketball and I fit my clothes, I'm healthy.
Yep.
Which now we're learning that that's not the truth. But then now I'm at this point where I've learned to listen to my body. So if something's hurting, I don't push myself, right? Like I'm just gonna rest. And I don't feel, I've learned to not feel bad about it. Because before it's like, you're quitting, it's like, no, my back's hurting. I don't, maybe I can just walk and do something else.
Yeah.
But then of course the weight, it gets harder and harder to lose because you
Mm-hmm.
have less room for mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're young and you're training all the time, maybe there's a little bit more room. But as you get older and you're not training all the time and your body cannot sustain you training all the time, then it becomes difficult. So if somebody out there wants to go, they had their beast mode time and they want to go to their Zen time, what would you say are some of the key elements for that transition to training every day, 2 times per week, and doing whatever you want and still being healthy, to now really being healthy while not having to maintain that crazy rhythm?
Well, it's a few things. And so I would say that it's one, it's changing your perception of food. And then two, understanding that it's more than just working out. Like I said earlier, it's more than just working out. And like the old saying goes, you can't out train a bad diet. It really is true. And I don't even like to use the word diet because it's so overused and it has a negative connotation to it, and implications. And so you have to realize it's more than just diet and exercise. There's so many other key points to what Tom Brady was saying, which I use in my programs, and my 4 pillars are intuitive nutrition, lifestyle stress management, self-care and awareness, and physical well-being. So of course, like you just said, everybody knows to work out. You somewhat know how to eat right, but then you're using food as or actually you're using workout as if I worked out, then I can eat whatever I want, when it's actually the opposite, right? You're not honing or paying attention to your stress levels and your sleep. And so you have to understand your body's mechanism and how it works is not all about output. Like you said, how much is that your body, how much is that of your body is absorbing, but how much can you recuperate? How are you recuperating and restoring your body? So you have to get out of this mindset of team no sleep, team go, 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 team whatever, and learn, to your point, which I'm so proud you got to that point, and happy to hear that you're not feeling guilty for resting. Like, y'all, we need rest. Like, it's okay to rest. It's okay to take a break. Unfortunately, our society has made it to be so that, like you said, you're being lazy or whatever. I hate to tell you this, but everything we've been taught has been a lie. And so it's that reprogramming and it's that relearning of, how to take care of your body. Think about our ancestors. And yes, have we evolved from our ancestors? For sure. But our ancestors are taking it easy. They get their sunlight like we talked about. They're getting their walking the fields or walking the whatever. They're not counting calories. They're not worried about that. They're not worried about how they look in regards to clothes and what have you. They just need an able body to go get food, and then to take care of the house duties or whatever. And we just got to get back to the mentality of we just need an able body. Yeah, do you want to look good? Of course, I want you to look good. I want you to feel confident. But it's really just changing your mentality. And it's that unlearning and relearning of and unprogramming of the programming that we've been programmed. If that makes sense. Yeah. So it's changing your perception. So understanding that it's not just diet and exercise, but then also understanding that it's your sleep, it's your lifestyle. So that's where the word holistic comes from. It's your mind, body, spirit, your emotional, your mental. All of these things play a key role in your overall health and well-being.
Yeah, and I mean, we punish ourselves so much because I think it's important to understand what it takes to get to somewhere, right? Because we have social media and everything, magazines and movies and everything is telling us this is the ideal, but people don't really understand what's behind that, right? Because if you see an athlete or if you see a movie star and you see how they look, you don't really understand everything it takes to look like that, right? Like they probably have the best recovery. Because if you're a regular person, you work out hard and you have to deal with regular life, you're going to be in pain.
Yeah.
Your back's going to hurt, like good pain, let's say soreness, right? Like you're going to be sore all the time. But at some point, managing it's difficult. So if you don't have like an athlete or a movie star, a massage every day, a cryotherapy every day, or everything you need, people don't understand that this is everything it takes to look like this. So
yeah,
in your life, you have to kind of like understand that that's the ideal, and some people have the genetics, right? Like some athletes, it's just the way it is. So
but I want to push back on that though, because whose ideal is that?
Well,
Right?
the ideal that they're pushing on you, right?
Right, right. But then also to know that whatever these stars, like you saying, they're monitoring their sleep and all, like you don't have to go to those levels, right? Because these are high performing athletes, they're getting paid to do all those kind of things. But there are things that regular folk can do to improve their overall health and well-being that is not going to cost them an arm and a leg, right?
Correct.
I do like the idea, and I was actually going to write about this, and I will continue to write about it even after bringing it up now, but it's like rethinking massages and like, those self-care days, because massages, like you need that from sitting at a desk all day, and your pelvic, your tilt and your all of this needs to be released. And so massage is a great way to do that. So it's not necessarily looking at massage as like a luxury. It's looking at it as a necessity, right? So there's little things that you can do. Go take a yoga class at the Y, go to the park. There's so many things that you can do as a regular individual, rather, that's not a celebrity, that you can still invest in yourself, in your health. Yeah. And that's not the ideal. I don't want people to think, and I know you didn't mean that, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
that's the false idea that we shouldn't be looking up to at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's so many ways. My family thinks I'm crazy because I have a chest freezer full of ice to do ice baths every day.
Yes, yes.
And they think like I'm crazy because
That's
I put
perfect.
myself, yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
and it's amazing. So I worked out, and we've talked about that. So I was an athlete. I played basketball as well in college and high school. And I remember I had this class where it was physical preparation class called. So they taught you the theory of basic nutrition and heartbeat and the different zones. So it was interesting because the teacher, the professor knew I was part of the basketball team. So he
Okay.
was going to use me as an example. And he said, oh, regular people are usually between 60 and 80 in resting heartbeat. That's kind of like the normal range. But usually the people who are lower are athletes or people who their heart pumps more blood. Like, for example, if we take Alejandro, he probably should be at 60. And he did the test and I was close to 80. And then I realized that just because of my nature, I'm kind of like an accelerated person, and I always had high heartbeat, even in my best when I could run forever and not get tired, and
Mm-hmm.
probably my heart was working the best. I could never do it. And recently, I've been doing stretching, meditation, ice baths, the Wim Hof breathing method, and you name it, everything related to kind of like that type of mindful living.
Yes.
And lo and behold, I did a test the other day and it was close to 60.
Good.
And I'm not doing any crazy high
Mhm.
intensity, or it's just focusing on the breath and doing the
Exactly.
act. So
Yeah.
I'm just amazed that these tools were out there for that long and people have been pushing their bodies so hard with
Yeah.
probably without a need to do so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unnecessarily.
Yeah. Now, another point you mentioned there, Jen, we talked about the transition from beast mode to zen mode. Now, you also talked about another transition when you moved to Houston and you rebranded your business
Mhm.
from just um, personal
Personal.
training to holistic nutrition. So, how did you? Because that was, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago, right?
2015. Yeah, it'll be
Okay.
7 years in May. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So at that time, I don't remember exactly, but I don't know if it was so this wellness movement, because now it seems, or maybe I'm part of it and I see it everywhere, but I see everywhere that they're selling different type of ice bath and everything. So you were kind of like a little bit ahead of that curve.
Yeah.
Where did you get, was that something that you just felt it because that was a transition you made? How did you came with that insight to, hey, let me transition and rebrand my business because this is where I think I can help the majority of people?
It's like it's my intuition. It's listening to, what is guiding me, and then also to my experience, because and then also what I was viewing from the personal training world. It's funny because I just posted on LinkedIn about this girl. I don't know if you heard the story, who she was scamming. She's a fitness trainer and she was scamming people out of their money. Yeah. And so I personally, I knew, and there's nothing wrong with personal trainers, right? There are a lot of highly qualified, great personal trainers, the people that are training, LeBron James and all them and whoever. Um, and even the people that are training, high quality professionals at a high level as well. Personal training is an amazing profession. But in the whole Instagram age, I didn't want to get caught up in the, fitness guru and all of these other kind of things, fitness influencer. I knew that's not what I saw for my business. And then also too, I knew that working out is not the answer. So I'm like, okay, I see it's just nutrition. It's time to rebrand this and do more holistic lifestyle and holistic living. So it was a kind of, again, a culmination of things, because I didn't want to be in that, lumped in that group of personal trainers who are just selling programs, cookie cutter programs, and not giving a high quality, high level, high touch point service. because I have a service industry background too. I minored in hospitality. So I'm really keen on service, being there for my clients, and not just being a fly-by-night personal trainer or whatever. I knew that JENuine Nutrition was going to be what it is today, and as it continues to grow. And so it was a bunch of things. So knowing I didn't want to be lumped into that, wanted to be respected in my profession, and then also wanting to help people where it really mattered most, which was the nutrition and lifestyle, and helping them change their perspective and their views when it came to working out and eating right. And has it been easy? No, because I'm going up against, the norm, right? So here's Jen and JENuine Nutrition, who is basically telling you that what you're doing is wrong. Here's a better way. And it's kind of hard to get people to see that. But those who are already on that path and who are ready, they know. And yes, I was, kind of ahead of the curve. And I'm glad that I was ahead of the curve because, it's exploded the wellness space, and I'm glad that it has, but it's also kind of watered down, I think, and it's just too much. And I just want to make sure JENuine Nutrition stays in that place of that's respected and that's known for just quality, amazing service. Yeah, that has a lot to do with it for sure, with the rebrand.
So then, because that's an industry that everybody seems to be in it.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have the established brands that have been there for years. Then you have these new brands who are saying that their ingredients are better. Now, like everybody's kind of like trying to get their piece of this market of people trying to get healthy. And of course, you got the pharmaceutical companies also trying to help with whatever they're doing. So everybody wants to be healthy, and everybody is trying to get a piece of their market. How? And then you also have the people on Instagram making noise and showing off their bodies, and that of course it's kind of like flashing lights and gets people attracted to that. And I think all of us at some point in our health journey, we're looking at something like, oh, I want to be.
I used to do that. I cringe. Even when I did that post, I hated posting selfies like that. And I was like, this is not what I'm doing for my business. I don't like this. Let's not do this. So yeah, I get.
So what was your focus and what would you say if somebody's out there and they also want to help? Hey, I want to help people. I know this is important. I'm kind of like going against the grain. What was your secret to being able to build a business? Because it's new city. Yeah. Right, like transition, new city.
Starting from scratch. I didn't have any clients. I had 0 clients when I moved here. I didn't know anyone when I moved here. So yeah, starting from a literal clean slate. Yeah, 0 clients, not ever been to the city. It was the 3rd largest city at the time. Now we're 4th, but it was the 3rd largest city at that time. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just, again, following my spirit. Like whenever you follow your intuition, it's never wrong. Like you cannot not follow your intuition. And when you don't, you regret it. Right. So it's following my intuition. And how I was able to, I stood firm in what I believed. So I knew I was going to be going against the grain. And I know that I saw one of your questions there, but we'll talk about that later because I'll save that point for later. But I stood firm on what I was believing and where I was moving my business to, because I remember I had one client, because my office was located out inside of a gym here in Houston, and dealing with personal training clients. And this was such a pivotal point in my business, and love her to death. And I'll remember it forever because it was such a point for me to stand firm on what I was doing. So she said, Jennifer, she's like, I see what you're doing, blah, 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 but I can't, how are you going to help me without giving me a meal plan? Because I don't do meal plans. Yeah, I don't do meal plans. Have I done them in the past, or did I do them in the past? Sure. But there's no, you can't meal plans or whatever. So that's a whole other topic for another day. But she's like, how can you help me if you don't give me a meal plan? I need you to tell me what to eat. And I'm like, that's not what I do in this business. we're not focusing just on that. Meal plans don't work. This is why, et cetera, et cetera. And she was so adamant about it. And it was in that point where, or in that point in my life where I was like, I can either give her this meal plan so she can be satisfied, so I can have a client. I needed money at the time, obviously, right? New client, all these things, kind of whatever. Or I could take the chance on myself and stand firm in my new branding, in my new beliefs, in my new knowledge, in my new education on this is how JENuine Nutrition does it. You can kind of take it or leave it, right? And she took it. Obviously, I didn't say that, but she took it, and she became one of my best clients. And she's like, Jennifer, she's like, and I told her as soon as she started her program, I was like, your body's going to tell you everything that it needs. Just how you said earlier, you started listening to your body. Our bodies speak to us all the time. And she thought that that was foo-foo tree hugger talk. And a lot of people think I am a tree hugger, which I am. I love trees. You should all go hug some trees. I love my yoga and all those kind of things. But 2 months into her program, she was like, Jennifer, she's like, my body's telling me everything that it needs and I can hear it. So that's kind of how I built the brand, is like staying true to what I do and having the results speak for themselves, because I have 100% success rate, and all of my clients experience a mental and physical transformation. So it's the high quality touch point service. It's the genuineness. So that's the name. I mean, the name of my company is JENuine Nutrition, and it's me being authentic. It's me being genuine with my clients, giving them what they need, being honest with them, and letting them know this is not a quick fix. Like, we don't do quick fixes over here, because quick fixes don't last. And that's not going to set you up for a lifestyle. So it's a lifestyle change, and you leave with a whole different mental mentality. So that's, to answer your question, it's literally just staying true to me and the new brand, what I saw for the brand, and staying true to myself, which is being genuine. It's not just a play on words. Like, I remember the day I called and asked my brother that, I was like, what do you think about JENuine Nutrition? Because I am genuine. So like, and he's like, yeah, I mean, no one was using it at the time, and now everybody's using it. So it's like, yeah, okay, but I got it.
Yeah, it's a great brand.
Thank you.
And that's such a great point about learning to listen to your body, because most people don't, and it's so hard, right?
Yeah.
To be okay with understanding, because I still, to this day, I have that conversation in my head with, I should be going to training, I should do this. Like, sometimes I'm doing jiu-jitsu now, and sometimes I'm like, my back hurts, and everybody's like, there's the last round, and I don't want to seem like a quitter, right? And I'm not a quitter, but it's like, hey, no, you're listening to your body, because this is a 10-year, 15-year thing, not a 1 or 2. Like, I'm not gonna get suddenly learn the best technique in this match. I just gotta survive. And it's interesting how humans, most of us, we don't understand that, right? Because Warren Buffett has a quote: nobody wants to get rich slowly, but that's the most likely way to get rich. And same with getting healthy, and same with the business, right? And I want to ask you about that, because I know it's true to stay true. It's hard to stay true to yourself when you need the cash flow, right? As your business grows and you have recurring revenue, it's easier to follow your intuition and do what you know works, and say no to people who don't fit with you. So how did you do it, right? Like, how did you build that revenue, and what would you recommend to somebody who is starting? What's the best way, let's say let's focus on the fitness industry. What would you recommend them to do? Let's say somebody's starting a business. What are the 2, 3, 4 things that you should do at the beginning to make sure that you can stay true to what you believe it's going to help people the most?
Well, I think it's knowing who you are. Kind of what we talked about earlier. It's knowing who you are, knowing your non-negotiables, what you will and will not do for, your business. And so I knew meal plans were not a part of my new business model or business structure. So I'm not going to do a meal plan. And the reason why is because X, Y, and Z, right? There's a valid point. And And could I have, but she would have been an unsuccessful client or unhappy client because that's not what she needed. She needed so much more than a meal plan. So it's knowing who you are, having those non-negotiables, knowing what you will and will not do, and staying true to who you are. Because when you know who you are, and to your point, it's like it's hard to listen to your body and to yourself, is because all of the distractions, all of this social media, it's, news, it's phone, it's whatever, right? And so it's getting more in tune and back to yourself, and the only way you're going to know who you are is to, get back in tune with yourself. And so I like to say, like, because my programs are really disguised as like self-development programs, because they really are. It's like self-development in disguise of, uh, uh, nutrition programs, right? Because it's a whole holistic approach. So it's knowing who you are, staying true to who you are, cutting out those distractions, and setting up those non-negotiables so that you know the direction. Because we all sometimes, like I was speaking to someone the other day, we all kind of get lost in the sauce sometimes, or get off our track. I've just recently experienced that. And then it's like, got to get back on. So it's reviewing the vision that you have for yourself. Even having a vision. It's crazy how many clients that I've worked with that I'm like, you're allowed to envision good things for yourself, and you're allowed to enjoy your life and have a good life. But so many people forget that, right? Because of society. So we're not giving ourselves enough time to think and dream and use our imagination like we used to do as kids, which help us get to where we want to go. But you can't get to where you want to go unless you have a vision for yourself. And then once you feel yourself getting off track, like I felt not too long ago, actually, and it's redirecting yourself and getting back on track and remembering why you started what you're doing, and not doing it for the quick buck. It's not doing it for the quick buck. You want to have, my dad would always say, like, whatever you do and whatever your name has on it, make sure it's good. Like, I've always knew that I did not, whatever I did, they may not like me, they may not whatever, but they can't say I didn't provide like good service or whatever. I have, great ratings, but anyway, great, yeah, reviews. But it's like, I've always, whatever I've put out there, I've always made sure that, it's good quality stuff. You have to make sure that you're honoring yourself and presenting yourself in a way, that you're proud of, right? And morally, ethically, whatever, how you want to say it, you want to just be good to people. You want to be good to yourself, and you want to be good to people. So it's not getting the quick buck, like that girl was doing, and scamming people out of their money, claiming this and claiming that. That's not good. That's not good karma. That's not good, any of that. So it's just putting out good and getting good. So it's all of those things kind of combined.
That's a great point, because you've mentioned several times your intuition, right? Listening to your intuition, being true to yourself. And it's so hard to do.
Yeah.
We were talking about the other day in a meeting. It's so hard to do, but it's so important. We had a team meeting the other day, and we've talked about goals. We do goals for the company, and then I urge everybody in the team to do their personal goals and include some things that you want to do for the company, right? Like, what are the things that you're doing that are going to help the company, but also how are you growing as a professional, right? Because my goal would be, we're a personal branding agency. I would love everybody to be a known thought leader in whatever they do, right? And they were impressed, because we spent a whole meeting that was supposed to be an update and talk about projects, and we spent the whole meeting talking about fear. Because I told them, you need to let go of your fears, because that is stopping you from doing that project. That's the procrastination, is fear. The not trying new things, and that creativity, that new video that's going to be viral, there's fear holding you back. And they were amazed at the end, like, oh, I'm so grateful. This is amazing that we didn't talk about work. You helped us grow personally. And I was impressed, because in my head, well, of course, if I help you grow as a person, the business is going to grow. To me, it made so much sense to work on all these what would be peripheral things instead of just talking like, you need to do this design. How is this video coming up? It's like, hey, let's let go of fear. And we did. I recommended this is the tree hugging portion of the podcast, but I recommended the Sedona method because I think it's amazing to work on those letting go questions. But do you, when you work with people to help them listen, you mentioned that client listening to their body and paying attention to what the body wants, you have to get rid of all that noise. Do you have any specific exercises that you recommend to people, any books, any resources for people to get in touch with their intuition?
Yeah, so a lot of it's journaling. It's because it's asking the questions, right? And people feel like journaling is a waste of time, but it's really not, because it's having that conversation with yourself when you may not can have it with someone else. And when you leave space for the answer to come, it's going to come. So it's journaling, first asking the question, and then allowing space for to receive the answer, right? Journaling is so underrated, but I still journal to this day. Sorry for the sirens. I still journal to this day, and it's such a cathartic experience and getting things out, right? Instead of bottling things in. Also, I really recommend, like, media detoxes. I don't watch TV. I don't have cable. I have my Hulu, but I really watch the Golden Girls. That's it. That's my favorite show. R.I.P. Betty, the last one. But a media detox. I haven't watched the news in years. Don't watch it. Don't recommend it. It's all negativity. Your social media, limit that as well. If you're a business owner, definitely. I mean, I know you have to use it. I limit my time on social media, even as a business owner, until I can have someone, come in and to manage that. But media detox is so important because you're having this dopamine, cycle that's running, and then you're on this roller coaster of high and low emotions. And that really does take you away from like homeostasis, which is your body's equilibrium, right? And so when you're always up and down and you're allowing outside sources to control your emotions, that's when you don't have any control. So it's really about controlling your emotions through meditation. I shared with a friend the other day and just talking about how meditation is not just sitting down, with your eyes closed. There's so many different forms of meditation. There's walking, sitting, sound, so many different forms of meditation. And it's really about getting out ahead of the situation. And so it's being still and being mindful enough so you can get out ahead of it. So it's not just sitting down and with your eyes closed and arming or anything like that. It's so powerful because, again, that allows less distractions for you to allow, whatever higher power you claim or want to be in touch with to connect with you and speak with you. That's how you get, to listening to your intuition and stuff like that. So it's an important piece that us as Western society has, shoved under the rug. But now they're finally coming out to realize that, all of these, practices that the ancient Egyptians did and just the ancients in general, there's validity to it. Like, there's no need for science, like, just do it, right? And so I feel like it's good for the people that like to see the science of it, but it works. And it is a very important, because at the end of the day, we're all part of nature. Like, Mother Nature is just amazing. She's beautiful. When she's good, we're good. She grows our food for us and all of the reproduce, all of these things. And so it's just getting back to nature, which in return is helping you get back to self. So it's media detox, journaling, meditation, getting out in nature. All of those things are going to help you connect with yourself on a deeper level.
Yeah, and it's so true, that point about the intuition also of what you should do. You mentioned the Egyptians and Eastern civilizations that knew what to do, right? And now we're having science prove some of the things that were said thousands of years ago, and they were so confident in it without the proof, right? Like, probably what you're saying, they listened to the intuition, their body, and they just felt so good that they understood that that is exactly what they needed to do. And it's just now that science is catching up to. One of those examples is, I think, Leonardo da Vinci was able to figure out how the heart worked just from observation and in going through some iteration. And recently, I think in 2005, they were able to put like a little camera, and they understood that he actually, at that point, just by thinking and drawing and iterating, he figured it out just
Oh,
by
wow.
looking at water. Yeah, it's amazing. So in just like that, there's so many other elements. I know that Wim Hof, um, he's now into the research, um, going through some research to help spread it, because there's a lot of people that they need the research and they need the science, and it's like, okay, here it is.
Yeah.
But he's able, right, like monks, that the monks
Mhm.
that are able to slow down their
Yeah.
hearts and their need
Yeah.
of oxygen, and people wouldn't believe it, but he was able to demonstrate, for example, how he's able to, just by thinking, warming up one part of his body,
Yep.
and that's how he's able to make the code. So yeah,
We are powerful beings.
it is.
We are
It's true.
so powerful, and everything in our society is meant to stunt that
Hmm.
power, right?
Hmm.
And so you just have to get back in touch with it. That's all, because we are so powerful, so powerful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
really is.
So I think the same happens in business, right? Like, you are at a point where your business, you have great clients, you have a great brand.
Mhm.
How do you balance? Because of course you don't want to be into the, oh, we need to grow, we need more clients, we need more people, and we need to make millions, right? Like, that's not the right mindset. But also, if you have this great system that can help people, it's kind of like your responsibility to
Yeah.
put it out there and share it with more people. So how are you applying that Zen mode? And I'm asking also selfishly, because I
Yeah.
struggle with it, right? I
Yeah.
know that, hey, if you write more articles, if you put more content, the algorithm is going to help. But then it's also, well, but I want to enjoy life. I don't want to be
Mhm.
all day creating content.
Mhm.
So I'm curious about how you are thinking in the Zen business Jen mode.
Yeah.
How is it that you're thinking now about business growth?
It's continuing to grow the team and delegating, right? And then like you supporting the people on the team so they can be their best selves as well. Because I like you, I also to ask my team, like, how can you be better first? Because you have to be better first before, just like with anything, like to be a better partner, to be a better dad, to be a better mom, to be a better whatever, you have to be a better you first. So it's not the business first, the lover first, the whatever, your child first, it's you first. Like you have to kind of adopt a selfish mentality. And that's what I do. And it's done in a way that I'm very strict on my boundaries, right? So my clients know the windows of communication, and even the team. I'm very respectful of people on my team. I'm not reaching out to them after hours or anything like that. Um, and so it's growing the team, helping delegate, helping to grow them as well. Being boundaries, like I can't express boundaries enough. Like, people are afraid to say no. They're afraid. And I used to be that. Well, did I? My mom would probably not think so. I always like, she's like, Jennifer, you always told us. I'm like, I know. So I've always been kind of like pretty keen and stuck to my boundaries, right? Because I knew I didn't want to run myself in the ground, not even before I had the business, just in general. Like if I just don't have it, I don't want to overextend myself. And that's kind of carried into the business. So boundaries are really, really key. It's okay to say no. The world's not going to end if you say no, right? Or even if you don't feel up to it. Like, for instance, I know the difference between being lazy, my being lazy, and when I really like need rest. Like I know that difference. So it's asking yourself that question of like, am I being lazy right now? Can I go ahead and do this? Or do I need to really like sit down for a second and take a nap? Like I haven't had to take a nap in a while. And that literally happened about a few months ago. And I was sitting at my desk and I was like, I had so much stuff well, not so much stuff, because that's another thing too. I keep my to-do list fairly short throughout the day, because if you put too much on it, that causes anxiety and stress, and we don't want that, right? So I keep my to-do list very short, and I'm very focused on what I'm working on. So I'm not adding a lot of stuff of busy work just to get it done, right? But I was working at my desk, and I had some stuff, some kind of, hefty tasks to take care of. And my body just didn't want to do it. And I was just like, I need a nap. And that I haven't taken a nap in a long time. And I just needed a nap because I was working hard, and I took a nap, and I felt so much better. And I was like, I think it was about an hour, 30 minutes to an hour nap. And then did I continue to do the work for the rest of the day? Yeah, I got up, did a little bit of more work, and then called it a day, right? So it's asking yourself and having the internal conversation of, am I being lazy today, or do I really need this rest? So those are the kind of ways that as I continue to grow the business, is, as athletes, we know when we're being lazy and when we're not, and we know what needs to be done and what, whatever. But even for the general, person or population, it's like just reviewing and asking yourself, am I being lazy, or do I really need to take a rest, take a break? Yeah. That helps.
And not punish yourself. Something that I've been implementing is to put on my list when I don't feel like doing anything is allow yourself to not do anything today. So then it's like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do, right? And you don't fight it, and there's no resistance.
I would even schedule it. I even schedule it in my week. Like I have day where I literally don't, well, not for the half the day. Like I have to take half a day off during the week. And yeah, last week the weather was so good here. I went and had a picnic in the park. It was so beautiful. I love going to the park, and I just went and got a salad, sat in the park, soaked up the sun, and it was just the best thing ever. It was a great recharge. So yeah, it's like scheduling those breaks and that self-care time in your schedule. And even every other week, I go to, or not every other week, I go to the spa like once a month. Nothing, crazy expensive or anything like that. I literally just have it in my calendar just to go. And so it's scheduling those days in your calendar, whether you own a business or not. It's scheduling those self-care days and times. Yeah, it's really important.
And I think that's something good that's going to come out of the pandemic, that people realize that we have the time to do these things. I don't think it's for everybody. I think it depends, and this is a whole nother conversation, but depending on your consciousness level, you might need a little bit of constraints and help. And some people are more self-guided. So I think once you let go of the fears, once you let go of the pride and those emotions that don't help you, you come to a point where you can really understand that it's okay to work a little bit and spend time with your family, go to the vet, then take a nap in the middle of the day, then work a little bit more. If you're too tired, maybe you don't work at all, and the next day maybe you'll be more productive. I think a lot of people realize that they had the fear that if they asked for it, they would be let go. And I think that's what happened with the big resignation, that people are just realizing, hey, I want to enjoy life and I want to be healthy, and I realize that I can do it and still be productive and contribute. So I'm really happy that that's going on.
I'm glad the conversation is being held. I'm just glad the conversation is being had, because we've seen what the go kind of toxic workplace society and culture has provided us, or right, or and as high chronic disease levels, high mental illness, high drug, dependency. And so that generation of go workplace culture, all of this kind of thing, the toxicity, it's, produced a person who is unhealthy, overweight, overstressed, unhappy, all of these kind of things. And so, as I say, as interesting as the past 2 years have been, it was definitely, it was a good silver lining to have these conversations come forward, to see that the system and it's broken. It's been broken, honestly, but this is just like shining a light on it even more. But it's just, the way that things have been going can't continue to go that way. There's another route. And
Absolutely.
yeah. I'm glad that people are opening up to that, because you can't like go. You have to know that recharging yourself. There's a quote, I don't know who said it, but they said, I think we were going to talk about it earlier, but it's like, you're not a lamp, you can unplug yourself, or something like that, basically saying like, you're not a device. Like, you can unplug, and it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. And it's really important. It's an important component to your recharge, to give you the energy that you need to continue to do the work that you do. Because if you don't take care of your health, you don't have a job, you don't have business, you're going to be in the hospital. Your business is not going to be, what it needs to be. You can't go into work because you're at the hospital. So it's kind of like, did you see that article that Apple, I was reading it before we came on, Apple decided to give in response to the Great Resignation, their part-time workers 6 days paid off vacation. I was like, oh, and I'm not team Apple, team Samsung, like whatever, I don't care. But like but I thought that was very interesting, because they're, and not all companies can do that, as the article said, but I think it's a great start. I mean, part-time employees getting, 6 paid vacations is pretty awesome, because they're understanding that the people that are doing the business and selling the stuff to keep the HR and all of these offices running are the people on the floor, that are selling the things. So I found that interesting, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Go ahead, Apple.
Yeah, same. I've seen a lot of people getting a lot more pregnancy time and childcare time, even men.
Yep.
3 up to 6 months. I've seen. I think Salesforce and some other companies are getting smart about it, because especially with what's going on, also because of the internet, that a lot of people are just becoming freelancers in whatever they do. So I think people have realized that they have options, and the company has realized that it's not just about money. Because I think, for example, I think Wall Street is struggling to get people to work for them. I think the starting salary is up to $200,000, because nobody wants to work the long hours that the investment banks are expecting them to do. It's basically, you don't sleep. It's, you work until 12, you go commute, take a shower and come back, and it's just inhuman. And people are realizing it. So I'm happy. I think good things are coming with the pandemic. Now, Jennifer, we've talked about a lot: meditation, working out, and we know in business that it's important to clearly state how is it that you can help people. So when you're out there in the world or in a professional setting, and people ask you, what do you do? What is your typical answer?
I tell people that I teach you how to eat. So I teach you how to eat instead of restricting what you eat, so that you can break free from like the crazy diets and the extreme exercise, like period. So I teach you how to eat so that you can naturally heal yourself from the inside out and improve your overall quality of life. And so I liken it to like, so when people say, oh, teach me how to eat, I know how to eat, Jennifer. Well, do you really know how to eat? I don't think you do, because if you did, you probably wouldn't be in the predicament that you're in now, right? And so I'm reprogramming and giving you new ways of looking at food, and teaching you how to fuel your body for the results that you want, basically. And so whether that's prevent or manage chronic disease, lose or maintain your weight, stabilize your hormones, all of those kind of things. And even men too, because I have male clients as well. Hormones and metabolism, all of that is very important. So it's giving you a new foundation, and I liken it to financial education. We weren't taught proper financial literacy in school, just as much as we weren't taught, proper nutrition education. And that's what I'm here to do, is to provide you with that proper quality nutrition education, so you can regain autonomy back over your body and life, period. Like, I literally just want you to regain autonomy over your body. And you do that with information and with knowledge. And that's what I do with JENuine Nutrition, is give you that through my programs, courses and, guides and all of those kind of things.
And throughout your years in business, have you found that there's an ideal person that you can help? Is it that beast mode a person that wants to go to Zen mode, or like on the average, who is that person that you can help the most, that the right, because we know it's difficult, right? Like we don't want to convince anybody. We know those clients that you have to convince are usually not the ones, because it's
Yeah.
not good for them
Yeah.
and not good for you. People have to trust that you are able to help them with the
Mhm.
services and the products you provide.
Mhm.
So in your experience, who is that person that it's ready to embrace the genuine nutrition way?
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Embrace the genuine nutrition way. Yes, we need to make that like the new. But it's the person who, first one, it's a busy, professional or executive or just busy individual, business owner, entrepreneur, busy mom, whoever, just a busy professional basically who has tried all things. And, like one of my clients said, their words, going in a hamster wheel, trying any and everything, not getting the results that they want, and they're ready to try something new. But they're also in the mind frame of what they have to recognize to know that what they've been doing isn't working, and they're ready to try something new, right? And so you're either two things. So you're either going in circles and tired of doing the wrong thing, and tired of going in circles and getting no results, or you've already kind of transitioned out of that into a more holistic lifestyle, but you're ready to take it further. So those are the two different clients of mine who they experience, they're stressed, they have anxiety, they have, negative relationships with food, they don't know how to eat, um, stress management, time management. And like I said, it's really like a self-development program in the guise of nutrition, because nutrition is just one of the pillars of my holistic, my 4 pillars of holistic health. So you're either, like I said, tired of going in circles, or you kind of know what you're doing, but you need a little bit more expert, advice, strategies, tips, and all of those kind of things to really point you in the right direction, because there's more subtlety to it than just, again, eating right and working out. There's so many different key variables could be why you're not losing weight or getting the results. Is it a hormone imbalance? Is it a nutrition deficiency? Is it, stress? Is it sleep? Is it all of these, different variables where an expert like myself can come in and guide you in the right direction? I mean, could you Google some stuff? Sure, but not really. Like, why do that? You might as well, expert advice, trim down the process so you're not having to keep going in circles, and this will really streamline it and lead you in the right direction. So I love what I do. It really is a passion. It's a purpose of mine, and really giving people their power. I just love it. And seeing people transform right in front of my eyes. It truly is, like, I love what I do. Like, say for instance, you were a client of mine, and it would be, old Alejandro, which you're already in good shape right now, but it'd be old, Alejandro versus new Alejandro. You'll be a whole new person. And I just love to see that transformation in my clients, because it's not like any other program out there. I have to admit that. And, like you said, like, it's not bragging. Like with one of your last guests, he's like, it ain't bragging if you've done it, right? And I love that. Or not, Disney, that quote. But it's a unique program, and it really, I just love just seeing people transform right in front of my eyes. And so I just love it. And I would love to just help. And that's the goal, is to help as many people as I can, with it, and touch as many people as I can to train. Because everybody has the power. I'm just helping you remember your power and bring it back up so that you can heal your body from the inside out. Yeah.
Correct. Listening to our intuition, so important.
Yes.
Jennifer, I feel we could talk for hours, and I had so many more questions. I wanted to talk about Peloton and
Oh,
tonal and what's going on, because I don't know exactly what's going on there,
oh
but I have
gosh.
so many questions.
That's a
Maybe
lot.
we'll have to do a round two. I want to be
Yes.
mindful of the time.
Yeah.
But is there anything else, anything you would like to share with the audience? Any resources, anything, any parting words before we close the episode?
Well, I would say, like, I remember, because I had the books on hand just in case you did ask. And I remember you said, like, feel the fear, you were telling your team. And I don't know if you told them about the book from Susan Jeffries, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. That's an
Wow.
amazing book. Yeah. If you haven't read that book, like, this is when I first started my journey a long time ago. I read this book a long time ago. It's such an amazing book. Feel the fear and do it anyway, because everybody has fear. Everybody has fear. So it's about how you, I don't even want to say conquer it. It's about how you face it. Yeah, because I don't care who you are, you have fear. The Rock has fear. Everybody has fear before you're doing something, and it's just how you manage that. And I would say just don't underestimate yourself, right? Like so many people don't value themselves, don't find themselves worthy. And that's, why some people use food as a coping mechanism or use any other kind of device as a coping mechanism, right? And so it's really remembering who you are or were before, society deemed who you were, and getting back to that. And one of my mottos and taglines is love yourself to better health. And it's really true. It's like loving yourself enough to be good to yourself so that you can be healthy. Yeah, because I use this example. Let's close off with this. I use the example all the time when I'm talking. So I always tell people, I'm like, okay, let's say you are a foreign vehicle of your choice. Let's say you're a Ferrari, because I use Ferrari all the time. And if anybody's ever heard me talk, yes, you're going to hear this example again because I use it all the time. Say you're a Ferrari. Do people who own Ferraris, do they put regular unleaded gas in their car? No. Exactly. So I want you to think of yourself as whatever foreign, hot, luxury vehicle that you want, and start because everybody takes care of their car, their shoes, their house, all of these things more than they take care of themselves, right? So love yourself to better health is not just a tagline, it's a mantra. Like, you really need to love yourself to better health and think about yourself as a Ferrari, because people that own those do not put regular unleaded gas in there. They put premium quality gas in there because they know it helps the performance of the vehicle. And while, we may not be playing sports anymore, we're playing the game of life. And so just like my client or my volleyball coach said, it affects your performance on the field or on the court or whatever. You're still playing the game of life. So whatever you put in your body is going to affect that. Yeah. So, and that's why you have all of these athletes who have their chefs and have their whatever. Yes, it's a luxury, but it's also a necessity. You got to put good into your body. Yeah. And it starts with your mindset of knowing that this is your vehicle, this is your temple. How are you going to take care of it? And so I'm just here to help remind you that you're worthy and you need love and your body needs love. And you can do that through proper nutrition and lifestyle habits.
I think that is a great closing message. I have more questions that prompted more questions, but
okay,
we'll close it up for now. Thank you very much, Jennifer, for the time. Maybe there'll be a part 2. And for everybody out there listening, thank you very much. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for having me.